Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto, and today I'm here with two new guests. I'm here with my brother Sunny Barreto. Give us a little introduction.
What's up, guys? I'm Sunny. I'm Drew's older brother. I go to the University of Southern Gilroy, aka Gavin College, and yeah, I'm 21 years old. But yeah, that's about it right now.
And I'm here with my other guest, my brother's friend, and he's my friend as well. Jaden. Jaden, you want to give us a little introduction about yourself?
What's up, everyone? My name is Jaden Menonsa. I'm a junior at Sac State, and I love sports.
All right, right on. So last week, you two, Jaden, you found a $60 deal to go to an A's game and a Kings game. Is that correct?
It was $40 actually.
Oh, 40. It's a better
Wait,
pricing.
was it 40 or 60?
No, it was 60. It was 60.
It was 60. Okay.
Yeah, two for
So
60. It was.
obviously the
Yeah, it was 60.
the
That's my fault.
obviously the A's aren't playing in a normal MLB stadium. They're playing in a minor league stadium. So I know you two guys went, and how was that? Like, Jane, how was that park, Sutter Health?
It was pretty good. I mean, it was like in a pretty good area. Um, the environment was like pretty nice. I mean, it was all like steam, not like old, but it wasn't like relatively new. But I mean, like it was cool. It was a cool little venue. The lawn tickets were pretty cool too. You could be pretty close to the players, which is really cool. But it was a good experience.
All right, Sonny, and Sonny, you've been to many Giants games. Oracle Park's one of the best ballparks, in the league. So comparing it to that, I mean, how much of a difference was it for you?
Oh, it's a huge difference. Like obviously there's more fans at Oracle Park compared to Sutter Health. Very small Sutter Health was. But the fans were pretty into the game. A lot of like OG Oakland fans were there too, talking about it. Chanting the Oakland A's. Rather than Sacramento A's. I'm kind of spoiled when it comes to parks because I've been to both Petco and Oracle Parks, were top five parks in MLB. So, but it was a cool little switch up because it was very small. Very casual. But they had it going pretty good for themselves.
Yeah, that was gonna be one of my next questions. I was gonna ask about the fans because I was just at Petco Park for Padres games, and it was sold out, 47,000 plus people, and the fans there were incredible. Everyone was chanting every inning for every player. So, what about the food options, Jaden? Was there much food options for you guys? I heard you guys didn't get food, but was there like a decent amount of food options?
Yeah, we didn't get food, but there was a lot of stands, a lot of places where you could get some drinks and stuff, or some like cool like barbecue spots. There was other I can't really think of the other spots, but there was a lot of like options.
And
So
then how was the game itself? I know it was a pretty low scoring game, but
yeah, I mean we only had I think what was it like two hits, and then I think the Padres had like 12 or something crazy. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was good though. There was a lot of Padres fans though compared to Oakland. Like it was surprising. There was a lot of Padres fans.
A lot of Padres fans.
A lot.
Everywhere we were at, everywhere we sat or like stood at, there was Padres fans all around us.
Yeah, for sure.
and then Jaden, did you go to baseball games like before? Was that like one of your first games?
No, I grew up going to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
I grew up going to the Coliseum. That was like where I went all the time for A's games or like other events like monster trucks or supercross. Like I was probably like 2 months old when I first went to that Coliseum. So
All right, so you grew up there. Yeah, me and Sonny went to the Coliseum a couple times for a couple of A's games and Raiders games. And obviously, it's a very old place. It's historic. But how'd you feel about the A's moving to Vegas?
uh
I
I
know you're
mean
not
it
the.
is what
I
it
don't think.
is.
I don't know if you're the biggest baseball guy, but
I'm not I'm like really not a big baseball guy, but I think it's just sad. Even for like from the Raiders perspective too, how both teams from Oakland kind of lost what they had forever. So it sucks, but it's the ownership at the end of the day. They can kind of do whatever they want, and I think people are also kind of fed up with it. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, us fans don't really have a say. It's up to the owner. So
yeah, most definitely. Obviously, you hate to see those teams leave, but
yeah.
they are on their way out. But yeah, Sonny, what was your experience at the game? Like, obviously, like you said, it was a little bit different, but
It was a cool little neat spot. I mean, the grass field was kind of nice too because a bunch of people were giving foul balls or like ground balls or just people like workers there were just throwing up balls to the kids, which was pretty nice. And then where we were sitting, a lot of kids were able to get some balls. But if you went a little bit more to the right, they had the dugout or the bullpen, sorry, for both teams, and it was cool to see them warm up. A sixth, seventh inning going later on. It was cool hearing the pitch, the whoosh, and then the catcher catching the ball, of course. But it was cool because even some of the relievers were giving some of the balls to the kids that were right behind, asking for them, which was a nice thing to see.
I heard you caught a shirt.
I did, yeah. I caught a Ricky Henderson shirt. So
So
it's somewhere, but
so
yeah.
even though they're it's a small park, but they were still giving out stuff throughout the game.
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah, heard you guys were going to that, and I was like, I gotta ask him about that. And then obviously that was a day game. I heard you guys said the weather was pretty nice. Got a little hot at one point. But how was the Kings game? Obviously, obviously, how far is Golden One Center?
We walked like what, 10
It was
minutes?
10 minutes probably. Like we walked
Yeah,
across the bridge. It was super super cool.
yeah. It was
And the
cool.
tickets
Yeah.
we got were like, yeah, they were $60 for both games, and we got placed in some pretty good seats, like row F in the upper deck, which is like pretty close to the bottom. So
Yeah, I've never been to Golden One. I've obviously seen the outside because I've only been to Chase Center and Oracle. So, Jaden, I know you're a Kings fan. How is Golden One Center?
it's cool. I don't really know exactly. I know it's like a pretty new venue or arena um compared to other places, but it's awesome. I feel like the fan base is pretty good. The community is like really really cool. Like they're all into it as well. A lot of options for food and stuff. Even outside the stadium, they have like a whole bunch of like nice like restaurants, like watch bars and bowling alleys outside. So it's a cool like little like spot to get together and just go watch some Kings basketball.
What about for you, Cindy? Because I know we go to Chase Center a lot, so we're pretty spoiled with the new arena.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. As soon as you walk in through security, boom, you see the court and everything. And you have food venues to the right, to the left. People selling drinks, beers, and all that. It's a lot smaller than what I'm used to. Both games were a lot smaller than what I was used to, but it was cool to see the Kings fans, and they got really into the game. Especially with those cowbells. I can't stand those cowbells. There was a fan a couple rows in front of us ringing it super loud, but it was cool to see them all into it. Compared to like Chase Center, where it's a little different. It's not like home how it was at Oracle. So
Yeah, most definitely. And you guys got actually two really good games. The A's game, the A's played the Padres, big name players on that Padres team, and then the Kings played the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic. How was it watching him against what Domantas Sabonis? Was he
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
that game?
yeah,
yeah. Jokic was pretty quiet the first half. I mean,
it was.
I think he still got a triple double. Like it was like a quiet one, but who really took the spotlight was Christian Braun, their point guard for Denver. He tore it up. He was lighting it up. And every time when the Kings tried to make a little comeback or get a groove going, he started splashing threes, or Aaron Gordon would hit it three or something like that. And so it was hard for them to catch up, but it was a cool game. It was cool seeing Jokic out there and Sabonis and all that.
Gordon was playing pretty good that day too.
Yeah,
He had a
100%.
good game.
Yeah, obviously I heard it was a close game, right, Jaden? It was what they lost by what 7? I heard.
7, yeah,
It's
like
something
something like
around
that.
there, yeah. It was close at the end though. Like I know Levine, like the last couple, it was like probably 3 minutes left. Like we were down 7, and then Levine hit a crazy three, and the stadium was super loud for like a good like 20 seconds, and they hit a three right back in our face, and just went silent. So
But that's good to hear. There's still a good amount of A's fans at Sutter Health. Obviously in a AAA stadium, and Kings fans haven't had the best of years lately. They fired their head coach to start the year, but it's good to hear that the fans are still there. Obviously, they made it to the play-in game. Obviously on Tuesday, both the 7th and the 8th seed played each other. The Warriors beat the Grizzlies, and then the Magic beat the Hawks, and then yesterday, Jane, I know your Kings. They fell to the Mavericks. I mean, I know you said you rushed home to catch that game. What
yeah.
was that game like? What was it when you got home? What was the score?
So when I got home in like the fourth quarter, and it was like probably 9, 10-ish minutes left, and we were down like I think 18 or something, and I was like, oh man, this is not looking good. And obviously like they were desperate to get some points on the board, so they were taking a lot of contested threes, and they were making like they were turning over the ball like crazy. They had like 18 turnovers that game compared to what was it? Memphis that only had 9. So they were they weren't really playing good ball. And I think they were a little desperate at the end, obviously, to try and put some points up, and it wasn't really going well. So
So what do you think is up for the Kings? You know, obviously they dealt De'Aaron Fox. You know, they were the ninth, but they were the ninth seed or the 10th seed. No, they were the ninth seed this year, and they lost to the Mavericks in the play-in. So what do you think the Kings are gonna do next year?
well, I don't know if you know. I mean, because you didn't mention, you didn't bring it up, but they fired their GM this morning. I'm pretty sure, or
Oh,
yesterday, or this morning. So they
I did
fired their
not know
GM,
that.
and I believe they already hired someone else today, or they're looking at hiring someone else. He was a former, I think, GM for another team. Um, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really mind uh the trades for DeRozan and Levine. I mean, obviously Fox didn't want to be here anymore, so you can't really keep a player who doesn't want to play for a team, right? Because the chemistry's not going to be there. They don't have a good attitude towards the team. They're not going to have a good attitude on the court. So, um, I feel like that was kind of something that they had to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have any like all-star, like guys like Curry or Jokic or LeBron. They don't have one of those players on the team. So I think it's just kind of it's a little tricky. So.
Yeah,
I
it
don't think
looks
they
like
have someone they could fully rely on and go to for a a game-winning shot or just a player that anyone could go to that will like basically step up.
yeah. Obviously, you know, Levine and DeRozan are great players, but you know, DeRozan's aging, and they dealt some of the younger guys. So it looks like, I mean, they still have Sabonis, who's a great player. Obviously, he didn't play his best ball last night. I believe on like 9 points or
Yeah, he was
whatnot.
quiet. He was quiet.
Yeah. So I've seen some things where they might look to trade Sabonis and be in a little bit of a rebuild. Like they were. I mean, the Kings were the 3 seed what a couple seasons ago. And they just unfortunately played the Warriors in the first round. So they were a good team, and now they've kind of just had a quick 180. So
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see to what they do. But I mean, it's a tough matchup for them. You know, the Mavericks. You know, with AD and Company and Clay. You know, the Mavericks weren't a bad team. Obviously, they were missing Kyrie, but
And obviously they were missing. I mean, Luca's gone. Like
yeah,
he's been
obviously,
gone for a
yeah,
while. But
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, I think I think we should have won that game. I mean, if you don't have key guys like that, even Kyrie on the court, I think they should have won, and they got smacked. Like it wasn't even a close game. So I
yeah.
think
Yeah.
It was 120
it
to
was really.
106.
I think it would have been really bad if they even had Luca and Kyrie, or even one or the other. Obviously, Luca's on the team. I get that, but it's that team's very is in shambles too. I mean, they went through a
Yeah.
lot this season, so I think it's crazy how we lost that bad to a team like
I
that.
mean, I'm pretty sure Sabonis this morning, I think it was this morning or last night on an interview, he basically said we need a point guard. Our team needed a point guard, you know, and that goes back to trading De'Aaron Fox,
Hmm.
and he was your true point guard. You know, you need other people like Keegan Mitchell or Keegan Murray, sorry, or some of the other guys to step up and fill that role, and that's a hard role to fill in, especially
Hmm.
like towards the end of the season and just when you're making the play in, But to have that true point guard to command the floor and everything to be able to do that, that's a tough role. But a lot of teams need that. You can't just rely just on one player, whether he's a forward or a center. All the time. You need other players around him to step up. Just like when Curry gets subbed out, you need people like Moses Moody, Jonathan Kaminga, Bajemski to step up. That's what you guys need, especially.
Yeah, because I mean, DeRozan had 33 that game. Levine had 20, and Sabonis only had 11. But your other two starters, Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray, they combined for 18. Your bench didn't really do much. Trey Lyles only had 5. Valanciunas only had 4, and was it Isaac Jones only had 2, and then Terrence Davis had 3, and then Devin Carter had 10. But I mean, there just wasn't enough for the Kings. And obviously, the Western Conference is a tough division. I mean, the Kings were 40 and 42. Obviously, not the greatest record. But in the East, that might be the 8th seed right there. So it's a tough division the Kings are in. Obviously, gonna have to make some moves to be competitive in the next couple of seasons, or they might have to go into a little bit of a rebuild like they were previously. But yeah, so they lost 120 to 106 to the Mavericks yesterday. The Mavericks will play Memphis tomorrow for the 8th seed. The Heat beat the Bulls 109 to 90. They will play Atlanta for the 8th seed for the final two playoff positions, and the playoffs will start next week. And then in the MLB, um, yeah, Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox, they're all up there in the American League East. They are fighting for that number one spot. Um, Tigers lead the American League Central. And then the AL West, honestly, it's kind of getting close. Rangers are 11-7, Angels are 9-8, Mariners are 10-9, and the A's they just end up sweeping the Rockies the past 3 days. They are now 9-10. And then in the West, the Mets and the Phillies are close to the NL East. Cubs lead the NL Central and NL West. The Padres, Dodgers, and Giants have the three best records in the league. And I know you're a Giants fan. How's this hot start been for them?
Going into the season, like, yeah, we're always gonna have high hopes as fans, no matter what. But we didn't expect for it to be this big, going in, especially right now where we're at. Yeah, our starting pitching rotation is lacking a little bit, but our bullpen has been playing really well. Our hitting has been on points. We haven't hit too many home runs as a team, but we're getting on base. We're bringing runners in. We're not leaving people on base how we used to in previous years, which has been nice. The run support's there, which has been amazing to watch. And most of our wins, we've rallied back from being down by like by 4 runs. So it's been nice being able to, feel confident that they can make a comeback or pull off a W.
Yeah, obviously they're having their best start in a couple of years. They're 13-6. Only bad thing about that is they're in the NL West. Dodgers obviously Dodgers, the billion-dollar team. Everyone expects them to win the World Series. They're 14-6, but they're behind the 15-4 Padres. The Padres are my team, but they've come out hot. Their bats. Fernando Tatis has been leading them. He looks like an MVP player right now. They got guys like Manny Machado, Jackson Merrill's on the IL, and their bullpen's the best in the league. Their bullpen, I believe, has I think like a 1.5 ERA last time I checked. But then, like I said, the Giants are 13-6, but the Diamondbacks are right behind them at 12-7. So it's gonna be really tough there. Only 6 teams make it to the postseason. 3 of them are the league or the division leaders. So that will be tough for the Giants. But hopefully they can keep it up because, like I said, I like to go to their games too. Oracle Park's beautiful. Um, but we're gonna move on to some NFL stuff. I know I didn't bring this up to you guys, but Jaden, in one of my previous episodes, I was talking about free agency and I was talking about the Niners and how they were sort of like in a rebuild. What did you think of their offseason, after the down year that they had this
Um,
past season?
yeah, I mean, I think we all like Niner fans knew that like we couldn't keep everyone, but I didn't know it was gonna be to like this extent how many people we're getting rid of. Got Hufunga, Greenlaw, Debo. Um, who else? Who are some other big players? We got Jordan Mason's gone too.
Ward.
Ward, yeah, that's right. Because I think that was more of a thing, a personal issue, obviously with his
Yeah.
daughter. But yeah, I mean, we lost so many people, so it's still concerning. But
They got a lot of picks in the draft though from it.
yeah, but we'll Niners don't really draft the best, to be honest. They're not when you're picking kickers in the third round, it's kind of a problem. And the kickers, that whole situation is still not fixed. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I
What
mean, they do find a lot of hidden gems in the
They
third,
do.
fourth round. They're
They
known
do.
for that.
They
Like
do.
Fred Warner, boom, he's one of the probably their best player that they got. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then what about the Brock Purdy situation? Obviously there's a lot of controversy of are they gonna pay him or not? I mean, as a Niner fan, do you think they should pay him?
Uh, I think they should let him play out the contract. I actually saw something today. I'm pretty sure it was from like another Niners reputable source. I'm pretty sure it said something along the lines of that. They tried giving him a contract extension, but I didn't think that's what he. It wasn't the number he was looking for, but I don't know the number off the top of my head. I don't even think it said it. Um, But to be honest, I think they should just let him play out the last year of his contract. I uh I don't know. I think he had a lot of players around him that helped him. Obviously, I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's elite. I don't. I don't know if I'd even put him in the top 10 to be honest. But regardless, I think they should let him play out his contract and see what he could do right now with a team that's not one considered to be one of the best right now.
Yeah, especially this season will be a crucial, his last year on his contract will play a huge role into how the Niners want to do with him. And especially with losing a lot of key players on both sides of the ball. And I there was talks about him getting paid 50, even $60 million a year, as a mega extension, like a big extension. And me personally, like if if Purdy was the type of guy that I think he is, I don't see him taking that much money just so people can build around him. They can bring in more players in the free agency market, which would be huge. Like even if they pay him like 30, 40, it's a lot of money they're still saving, rather than 50 or 60. But I think he'd be the type of guy to take that pay cut for the team. But at the same time, you can't be mad at him for wanting to take the money. If he feels like he's earned it, by all means, go ahead, get your money. But it's a little tricky situation you guys are in. But I think going into next year, especially after next year, you guys will know more information by then.
Yeah, I in that episode, in that other past episode that I had, I said, I thought he deserved a contract extension. Obviously, being a rookie quarterback, being put in the situation, he was, like you said, he did have a lot of amazing players around him. He had Brock Purdy, he had Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle, and they still have McCaffrey, Ayuk, and Kittle. So it's not like they lost a lot of weapons. They have Ricky, what, Pearsall,
Personal.
Pershaw.
Hmm.
He was pretty good to end the season last year. So they still have weapons around Purdy. Like I said, when he was a rookie, he stepped in and took him all the way to the NFC Championship. That's not an easy thing to do. And he fit perfectly into Kyle Shanahan's system. Obviously, the year after that, they went back to the Super Bowl. Obviously, fell a little short, but it's not like he's playing at a bad level. He was playing at an elite level. Obviously, last year was pretty big down year because when you're missing guys like Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, obviously those they do make a big difference for him. And he didn't play the best ball of his career, but I definitely thought he deserved a contract from like a 30 million plus. So that's been the big talk about him in the offseason. So we'll have to wait and see what they do. Obviously there's talks about maybe them trading for Kirk Cousins, but to me that never made sense.
Yeah.
Purdy's still young. He's what, 20, what is he, 25,
25,
26?
something around that age. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
He's
still a
still young.
young quarterback. He's got experience and he's been in playoff games. So to me, I believe, I think they should extend him. Then once again, I'm just a fan, so but yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what the Niners do. Hopefully, they were able to fill in those gaps that they lost this offseason. Because, like you said, they lost a lot of big names: Greenlaw, Hafanga, and many more. But yeah, they do have a lot of picks in the draft. Obviously, the draft picks haven't been that great recently. But we'll just have to wait and see. That I believe the draft's in. When is the draft?
Next
Next
week, I believe.
week?
Yeah.
It's soon.
Next
Yeah.
week? Draft, but yeah, I believe the draft is next week. So we'll have to wait and see. I know the Raiders have a sixth pick, and I mean, Sunny are trying to find out and see who we draft. There's rumors of a quarterback, running back, offensive tackle, cornerback. So that draft will be a very interesting one, to say the least. But I think that's gonna cover all today. I'd like to thank you too for joining me today and doing this episode with me.
Of
Hopefully, I
course.
have you guys. Hopefully, I have you guys on some future episodes. Um, but yes, thank you all for tuning in. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And until next time, stay ready.